Hello and welcome to the Nexus. Today we are doing Disney Doll's House issue 27. We've got some basement bits and some other bits to have a look at, and then some stuff to make, so let's get going. Right, so today we have got the chair for the Beauty and the Beast's room. It's actually really nice.
Yeah, it's sort of like a sponge backing as well.
Yeah, it's all padded in the back and the seat.
Which is really nice.
And obviously these little bits here are a bit padded as well. And then
a toilet bowl.
Yeah, this is down as a toilet bowl. Not quite sure.
Did he have one in the movie?
I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched the movie.
Okay.
Might have to get the kids sorted and watch it again.
Okay. And then we've got, it's a rather small towel, but it says, I think it actually says bath towel, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, a bath towel.
A bath towel. I don't know what.
Knocked it.
It's okay. I don't know what it's going to cover.
Yeah, can't imagine it covering a lot.
No.
I mean, in comparison to the size of the chair, doesn't even cover much of the chair. Unless it's supposed to look like it's folded
Might do.
for sort of on.
In that maybe.
No, because that's the toilet.
I know. And just to clarify, it does actually say
The toilet bowl.
the toilet bowl. I don't know.
Not sure about that one.
Actually,
Perhaps
in the
it's got a little bit of
picture,
detail.
if you look in the picture here, it's actually in the bowl. Well, can you see that right at the back there?
Oh yeah, so it's kind of.
It's actually
Almost as if it's more of a wash bowl and washcloth.
even though it says bath towel and toilet bowl.
Yeah.
Okay. Or maybe, well, you got to think this came out in China, so maybe when they've translated it,
Yeah.
it's came out as something different. I weren't too sure. Maybe that's what's happened.
I don't know.
But it's a nice chair. It's a big chair as well.
Yeah, I do like the chair.
Yeah. So let's carry on with the build bit. Okay, so we've obviously got quite a bit to do actually in this issue. So we've had the really nice chair and a few accessories there free, but we've actually got to fit the door that we had in the last issue, and all the framework as well we've got here, and we're actually starting the base of the house as well. So let's dive in. Go ahead and do these two pins. Now I didn't do them in the last issue like it said to. This is just for me, just to make sure that I didn't lose these. For anyone who's sort of worried about losing these, a little bit of blue tack, a dob of blue tack, and you stick them in the blue tack and then they don't really go missing. So that's just a little trick, but anyway, and just a little reminder, make sure you be really careful when you open it and just stick it on a bit of blue tack. You can stick it there, then they're easy to grab and place into the door. So I'm going to do a little bit of glue on the doors here. So I'm just going to just sort of cover the hole there and cover that hole, and then I'm going to stick them in. Okay, so they're both in, and as you can see they protrude just a tiny bit either side, and the top here we're just going to push this on like so. Well, that will go on when we do the rest of the door. And what we're going to do now is put this aside gently, and we're going to start building the door frame. Okay, first things first is going to put a little bit of glue just along here. That is a bit too much, but hey ho. And we're going to stick this part just into the door here, like so. Once again, we can tidy up the area. I've just overdone it there. You can just get a bit cotton wool bud and just run it along just to clear up the excess, like so. Now what we're going to do is we're going to glue in the sides of these here, so just down the sides, and this one is going to go this side. So we're just going to, as you can see, that side's in. That was a bit of a mare, but this one's a lot better. So once again, we're just going to push, just making sure it's on that part there, and just push it straight up. So it sits in nicely, just like that. So our next part is the bit more tricky part. So we've got to hold this top part in, and well, without trying to, I've got paint, I've got glue everywhere, so that's got to sort of sit in, and this has got to go at the top here, and now we've just got to push the whole thing in, but be very careful when doing so. Okay, so the door is in, and it is a very, very tight fit, I've got to say. A very tight fit, and I can prove it just by, it is stiff, but it does.
But I can't imagine we're going to be opening and closing it anyway.
Yeah, maybe leave it ajar or something, I don't know. I reckon even with no glue, I think it would hold.
Yeah.
It's a very tight fit. So next is this section, so I'm going to do that now. Okay, so the glue there is coming through. That's because of the tight fit that we've got. So I'm now going to glue this top bit on here, if I can get some glue, that is. My top advice also would be to connect the door into the bottom first before attempting the top, because you need to make sure it's going to sit properly. So now this just needs to be pushed into that little hole.
Just finding it.
It's just trying to get it in. Don't normally have any trouble. There we go, done. And just squeeze it from both sides, and there we go. And we can just tidy that up. Get the old this will dry all clear, but as you can see, it's down here as well, where it's just been squeezed together. But let me just change the camera angle. I'll tell you what, I'm very, very happy with that. It's a little bit, it is a bit stiff, but I mean, it swings open quite well. It's obviously stiff in the socket, but you want it to be, because you don't want it to be too loose.
You want it flapping around.
You don't want it flapping about. But I'm happy with that. You happy with that?
Yep.
Nice.
Like I said, can't imagine I'm going to sit there opening and closing it.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
it's more for display.
Yeah, this is another thing. I think we were discussing it on Jay's channel. If you don't know Jay's channel, go and check him out. Description is his link to his YouTube channel is in the description. And we had this discussion on his channel that, you know, this is not a toy, and because of the small amounts that you get, this is it's a model piece. It's a collector's. It's a collector's item. There is a play element to it if you wanted to, yeah. But you have to ask yourself, how often are you going to be going to and from like that? How often?
Let's move the figure through the doorway.
Yeah, yeah. It's either going to stay open, or it's going to.
I prefer it closed.
Stay closed. It does look nice closed.
Yeah, I like the pattern on the frozen door.
But yeah, we had this discussion. But anyway, now we're coming on to the next part, which is the base of the house, and I'll explain that in just a minute. Okay, so these are all the base for the basement, or basically the house. The house sits on this. Now, if you're not too sure what I mean, now you might think to yourself that the house sits on this sort of base here. It doesn't. This base unit has got a big cutout.
Around it.
It's basically put around it. We don't sit the house on this. The house is built around it. Because the drawer for the basement panel is actually on this section here. So yeah, it's a misconception. The house is not actually built on this base. The base is built around it. and the actual bottom of the house is what we're actually going to build right now. So this is going to be the bottom of the basement of the house. So we're actually building the foundations, we're actually building the very, very bottom of the house now with this. Now get all the pieces out. Make sure you've got all the pieces here before you start. And we're going to follow the instructions really, really closely. Okay, so the first bit is we're going to grab the house. It's going to look like this. And we're going to grab A. A should be upside down. And we're just going to test fit it first before gluing. So that is where it's going to sit. And we need to glue all the way along here. I'm just double checking where we need to glue. Yep. So we need to glue all the way along from this end, all the way along, but leaving this part with no glue. And then what we're going to do is when this goes in, sort of there, there'll be no glue on this end, but there will be glue on that end. So that's what I'm going to go and do now. So there we go. There's the glue. I've put a little bit more on because I want to make sure it's secured in. Now we've got to just go along and push it right in. It's a real tight fit. We need to make sure it's in perfect. You can hear that clicking. Once again, don't worry about all this mess. There's no need to clear it up. This is the base part. You'll never see this once the house is fully built. So as long as we secure it, it should be okay. So now we have to take section B. Once again, we're going to test fit it. So as you can see, these two parts here do not go into anything. It's only the two end ones. So we need to glue up to about here. I find actually gluing the base unit itself instead of the slats. So this is where it's going to sit, and it's going to be a tight fit again. So we're going to, once again, we're just going to push this down into this recess here. It's going to sit in there nicely, just like that. Just like that, is what they say. So that's how that sits in. Okay, next one we're doing is D. So we're going to turn the house all the way around, just so we can get a better shot. And the D one is going to sit here. Some of it's going to overlap, but that is where we are doing it. So it's going to sit just along this bit here. So just got to make sure that, oh God, just like that. Once again, so we're going to grab the D upside down, and it is going to sit just in there like that. Once again, don't worry about the excess over it. It'll be fine. You want to make sure that it's secured down. As you can see, it's all sort of coming together quite nicely.
It's all locking in.
Yep. So our next bit is we're going to be concentrating on this section just here, which is E as well. And we're going to grab the E, because there's an E on this one as well. And this E is going to sit on there. So once again, we just need to glue just along here. Like that. I'm just going to put the E against the other E, so it sits just like that. So once again, it's upside down. Next, we're going to grab our big F slat next. So let's get that one. So this is why it's always good to double check. So the B one here should be at that end, and the overlap should be on the opposite side. So that just sits on like that. That was my mistake, and it's good that it's been rectified. The next part is the F part that we've got here. So this is going to sit on there, just like that. I noticed my mistake through this bit. Now, I did follow the instructions, but for some reason, I did misplace this section here.
Yeah, the other way around.
It was just the other way around. This is what I mean. It's very... You have to make sure that when you do this, that you
get it perfect.
Yeah, I haven't done it in this time, and I don't know why, but I normally always test fit.
Yeah, but it fitted still.
It's still fitted. That's the thing.
That's where it's.
So we've got the little section here and that big cut out, and we're laying it flat against those edges. We're just going to squeeze it up against. So that's where that sits. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to flip it like so, and we're going to stick this part onto here. So once again, we're just going to dab a bit of glue. See, it's always good to double check. I do make mistakes.
Turn it over.
So this part, so this part needs to be facing down. That slat needs to be facing downwards, and then we just push that into place. And that is it.
That is done.
That is the base of the house done, and it's perfectly done as well. I did muck up, and I put my hand straight up at that. Now, because I used wood glue, it wasn't instant.
Yeah, thankfully.
Thankfully. I normally always use wood glue on wood. I wouldn't use instant. I wouldn't use Gorilla Glue or anything like that. Anything that's quick setting, because of the mistake that I just made. It's easy.
Remember,
it's easy.
Set.
It's easy enough to rectify because of the long set time. But yeah, that is the base. Like I said, this is all coming apart because it's not set. So this needs to be on a flat surface, a bit like this, and just needs to set in place until, as you can see, wood glue isn't fast setting, but it does bond it over time. So my suggestion would be, once you've completed it, which this is the whole layout now, is to put it somewhere safe. Maybe stick a couple of books on top of it, and magazines, or something heavy like a plant pot. I've got a plant pot here. So something like that. My wife hopefully doesn't mind me using her pot plant.
No.
No, right, okay, that's fine.
It's for my build.
So that will just force it down and help the bonding process. I would leave it like this for at least 24 hours, maybe even 48, just to be safe.
Yeah.
But that is how it sits, as you can see. Just like that. So once again, I think this is the base. The other side is the actual foundation side. So we're actually working underneath the foundation, like the top base bit. So anyway, let's push that out of the way so that can set.
Yep.
Let's take a look at what comes in issue 28.
Yep.
So issue 28 is very, very, very light on content, but some cool stuff. So it looks like we get the next two panels for the basement section. So that'll be interesting. There's a lot of slats like we've just done. Test fit. I can't even believe that I didn't even take my own advice.
Yeah, but you did.
Test fitted it.
Yeah, and it fits either way.
Yeah, I should have test fitted all of it so I knew exactly where they were going to go. Anyway, we've got a lantern and organiser table for Peter Pan's room. Now, I do believe this lantern lights up.
Right, okay.
It uses a cell battery, the little round batteries that you get for watches and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think this is the first light we get. I think you touch the top, or there's a button on it that turns it on and off. So that's going to be quite a cool one to have a look at.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is where we are. Like I said, always follow the instructions, but make sure if you do make a mistake, it's easy to rectify later on. The most difficult thing about this whole build was the door. From today's issue was the door. This was easy compared to the door. That was a bit, you didn't see it on camera, but it was fiddly as hell to do. But yeah, that's where we're going to leave it.
Yep.
So thanks for watching. I've been Kev.
I've been Kirsty.
And we'll see you in the next video.